Hello, my name is Ava, and I'm a K-pop stan. Wait, don't leave, please! Anyways, I'd say I'm classified as a boy group stan. Wait, no, please don't leave! All in all, I've been to 10 K-pop concerts. That's kind of a lot. These are my top 3 groups, okay? Stray Kids, seen them 5 times. Classics, my faves. P1 Harmony, seen them once. Please Jiyoung, one chance I can make you happy, please. Ampers&one, seen them twice. They opened for P1 and also just now, actually. 2 of my friends and I, we all went to go see them in early June. Guys, we met them because I can't be normal about anything, so obviously I have stuff to say. But my friend O is here to talk her piece as well. A guest star. Wow. Go ahead, O.
Oh, hi, I'm O.
All right. Another thing about them is that 4 of 7 of them were born in English-speaking countries, and they're all, like, pretty good at English. So not only are they hot, but their native language is low-key also our native language. No, thank you. We were scared. So we got there at, like, 2:15 in the line, and once we got checked in, we each got a shirt and a poster for them to sign, and O got a tote bag, too.
When we were in line, they passed back this paper that had all the merch listed on it, and for the sweatshirt, it said they only had a 3X left. I was like, perfect. When we actually got to the merch thing, they told me they only had 2 mediums left. Okay, first, who lied? And second, which one of y'all skinnies took my 3X? Because none of y'all here look like you wear a 3X. I wanted to spend $60 on a sweatshirt.
So basically, O made money that day.
I did. I made money to buy albums, and then, like, no matter what I do, I can't get an album these days.
Every single store we've been to in the last, like, week has been closed. And then we got our merch like 5 minutes before they cut off the line to get ready for the fan sign. So that was low-key pushing it. That was actually kind of crazy. And then we waited in line again until like 4:30 when the line started moving for fan sign. And we kept telling ourselves that we weren't scared so that we wouldn't be scared. But we literally didn't know what to say to them, and we were so nervy. And then we almost got into the room, and I turned to O and I was like, Jiho's right there. And then we were freaking out. And I don't think anybody was as freaked out about seeing Jiho as we were. Then at that point, we were like paraded in front of them. And the staff took my poster because I was in front of O. I was like being sacrificed. And I gave it to Kyrell, and he started signing it, and I was like, oh my gosh, hi! And he was like, hi, how are you? I'm good, how are you? I'm good. That's good, haha. Are you excited? Yeah, are you? Well, yeah, I'm excited. And then he pushed it to Brian, and he was like, hi, and I was like, OMG, hi. And he's like, I like your shirt. It's like the ocean. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks. I like your jacket. And he's like, oh, thanks. Guys, we had a moment. He wants me. Swear he wants me. And then I wish Camden gave me anything, but I was so fried from Kyrell and Brian. But he did look at me a lot, so he also wants me. And then I got ushered outside and I had to wait in line for O. And then the rest of the people were high-key a blur. It was a bunch of like, hi, how are you? That kind of stuff.
When we saw them in the room, I was like, there's actually no way they're real. And then they had Kyrell, the cutest thing to ever exist in the universe first. He had my poster, and I was like, hi, how are you? I'm good. How are you? I said, are you excited for the show? I was like, huh? And I leaned closer to hear it because I didn't hear what he said at all. Then he repeated it, and I was like, oh, I guess so. I guess so. What kind of answer is that? And then I was like, wait, no, yeah. I just had to move with Kyrell thinking that maybe I wasn't actually interested in the show. And then I had to go to Brian. We pretty much just said hi. And then on to Shiun. And I said hi. He gave me nothing. Valid though, because he's done this so many times at this point. And then I get to Camden. And we do the hi, how are you thing. And then it's just kind of awkward silence for a while because he's so dorky.
He's so dorky.
I need him.
I need him so bad, actually.
And then he looks up and says, where do you live? And I was like, huh? And I leaned closer in to hear him because why would he ask me that? Do you live here? And I was like, here? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, no, I don't live near here. I was just confused in the moment. If Camden actually wanted to know where I live, he could have my address. Like, I'll give it to you, no question. Then Micaiah was listening to our conversation, and he looked up to me after signing my poster, and he said, you know where I live? I was confused because I was like Australia? Is that what he's wanting? And he said, I live in the basement of this building. In my head, I was like, what? And I said, okay, I'll meet you there later. Because I will, Micaiah. If you want me to come to that basement, I will.
Down.
And then he and Camden thought I was so funny, and they leaned into each other, and they laughed because they just thought I was so funny. So maybe they want me because I want them. And then I had to speed run through Sungmo and Jiho because the staff was rushing me.
After that, we were still separated from Daniela, so we called her on the phone and we were like gushing about meeting them. And then we got back in line and we had the group photo this time. And basically they stood in a line behind 7 chairs. We had to sit in the chairs in front of them. But O and I got separated and we were crushed. And I low-key lost confidence at that point. I sat in front of Sungmo, and then O said she sat in front of Jiho, and he said like she can take a seat right here, and she was like, okay. Daniela smuggled her way in with us for sound check because she was like 15 people behind us, but it worked out because they didn't check numbers. And they let us record sound check, so that was very slay. And this venue was a small theater, so they had no food for real. Like, we didn't eat for like 12 hours that day. Like, they had nothing. They had like roasted almonds and like a Pop-Tart. It was crazy. Sound check 8. And then Micaiah said we were like the last chocolate chip cookie that he saves for dessert because we were the last show of their US tour. And then they said we were the cookies and they're the milk. So what that mean, actually? And we took pics and then they came back out for the show. Insanely slay. We had great seats. We were right in the middle. If we were in the aisles, that also would have been great because they walked up and down and like sang into people's phones. And there was like this one spot in the front right side of the middle that Brian kept sitting at and like staring into this girl's phone. And I was so jelly. These were my favorite songs that played: Broken Heart, Love Story, and My Way. I actually wanted to cry during Kyrell and Brian's Love Story cover. Usually I don't cry at concerts or like cry for things like that, but it was like so cutie and beautiful and they slayed so hard. And then after the show, we waited until they freed us and called out our tier. We waited outside a total of like 2 hours after the concert for high touch and the selfies. And we did high touch and I looked a few of them in the eye, but I was scared and I mostly focused on hitting their hands and just saying thanks.
One of the ladies, a couple people in front of us, when she was doing her high touch, she was like winding her hand up to hit them really hard. That's not very nice.
I know, it was kind of mean actually.
Oh, she was the same lady that when we were in line, she was like, if you have to faint, faint on your bias so they look heroic. If I fainted on my bias, I would crush him. When I went kind of slow. Not really, but kind of, because I wanted to make sure I could see everyone and make eye contact and see their faces and say hi and say thank you. And they're all so tall. And I saw Micaiah smile and I was like, wow. And then I got to Kyrell and he did the cutest smile ever. So then I was like smiling and cheesing from ear to ear. It was like the cutest thing ever.
Anyways, the selfie, the ultimate fear of mine. I was extra nervy because O and I chose different people, so we had to be in different lines, so we were separated. But Brian is like super popular, so his line was long and also kind of fast because they had so many people to get through, so they were like rushing us. And Camden is the leader, right? I don't know if I said this before, but I've been teetering between Brian and Camden being my bias since the beginning. Anyways, Camden was right there. Usually when I go to concerts, I don't change my bias after because usually people are like, oh, like who's your bias before, who's your bias after? Usually my bias doesn't change. But I was like, okay, like Brian's super sweet and cute, but like I need Camden. Anyways, Camden's line was empty for a fat minute and I was like so close to getting out of Brian's line and getting into Camden's because you can choose whoever you want. But like 3 girls suddenly went to Camden and I figured I should probably just stick with what I planned. And also I didn't want to go to Camden because I need him so bad and we didn't talk and I'm scared of him. Anyways, when I was next, my heart started beating super fast and then a staff took my phone and checked that the live photo and the screen recording weren't on. High key, kind of fake. And then she gave my phone to Brian. Guys, he held my phone. And then I walked over to him. And actually, let me interject a side note here. There's this video of V-Live of Camden and Kyrell where Brian shows up when he isn't supposed to. And Kyrell goes, Brian, I told you! And pretends to hit him and like Brian reacts as if he got hit. This sounds really lame, but it's like one of my fave videos right now. It is so funny. And O and I are always like, Brian, I told you! And I told her if Brian didn't let me get my good side, then I'd be like, Brian, I told you! And then I'd start swinging on him, obviously. And low-key, I didn't get my good side, but I didn't tell him that because the other side was closer to Camden. And also, I was scared in general. But then we realized later if I had told Brian that was my bad side, he could have been like, you don't have any bad sides. And I'd be like, what are we? Anyways, I digress. He said something to me and I was like, sorry, what? And he was like, do you have a pose you want? And I was like, oh no, whatever you want. I don't care. I'm cool with whatever. You know? Another side note, before this, O said she saw a lot of videos of Brian choosing to dab, so that was a risk that I took. And he was like, oh, you don't know? Okay, let's do this one. And he pinched his cheeks a little and I was like, oh, okay. And I did the same thing and he was like, 3, 2, 1, and clicked the thing once. And handed my phone back to me. And I looked at the pic and I started running away. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And he was like, I hope you had a great time tonight. And it was like reaching after me. And I was like, OMG, I did, and you too. And then I ran away. Like I was being rushed by staff, but I was also scared of him. I keep thinking about it and honestly, like cringing. I'm also only one person he's taken a photo with, so I'm sure he doesn't care. I love you, Brian. Stay silly forever.
Okay, in the selfie room, we were separated, and they kept calling out the members' names for, like, which line to go to, and no one was calling out Kyrell's name. So I just went over to the area near Kyrell. The lady who was in charge of Micaiah's line kept calling out Micaiah's name. So then Micaiah started calling out his own name. He's like, Micaiah. If I had another ticket, I would go get in that line, too. And I walked up to Kyrell and handed him my phone, and he says, "Hi, how are you? Did you enjoy the show?" And I said yes this time, not something stupid like I guess so. And I was like, wow, you're really tall. And he smiled and he was like, "Oh yeah, thank you. What pose do you want to do?" And I was like, "Oh, I have no idea. You can pick." And he was like, "Okay, what about a head pat?" And I was like, "Okay." And then I got closer to him to take the picture, and he put his hand on my head. I'm never washing my hair ever again. I actually did wash my hair like 2 days later because I went to work. And then we both smiled, and he clicked the picture button, and then he said nice. And I said thank you. I was like, wow, you smell really good. Because he did. Like, I was actually tasting the cologne in my throat. Like, it was really strong. I was choking on it. Not choking on it.
Whoa.
He smiled and was like, "Oh, thank you." And I was like, "What's it called?" And he said, "Oh, I think it's lavender or something." It smelled nothing like lavender. So I was like, "Oh, you don't know like the brand name?" And he was like, "I don't know." And I was like, "Oh, okay, thank you." Like, as he was talking to me, I kept walking away because the staff the whole day was like running a tight ship. Anyways, I felt bad like looking back because like he would be talking to me and I would be walking away, and then I come back and I walk away a little bit and I come back. "Oh, I think it's like La something. Oh, La Labo." And he was like, "You don't know that one?" And I was like, "No, I think we have different bank account." And then he laughed. "Okay, bye. Thank you. Have a good night. Sleep well." Because they need it. I was tired and I did nowhere near what they did. And before going to take this pic, the whole time I had this worry that he would think I have a crush on him while I was talking to him. While he was talking to me, I kept looking at his teeth and his neck because he was wearing a choker necklace, and I was trying to figure out what was on it, and it was keys. And then his smile is really cute, so that's why I was looking at his teeth. But looking at those places and complimenting him, I don't think helped my case. No, he's just like my favorite thing ever.
Ah!
I thought that was part of your script.
What up, gang? I'm the said coworker that was invited to the concert and actually came out demented. This was my first time seeing ampers&one. I wasn't too familiar with the group beforehand since O had introduced me to them a couple of months back, and I never really got into them. I know, dude. Hand me the gun. It was all in a matter of a week, bro. I'm so easy. The Sunday night before the concert, I went over to Ava's house where I was put through an ampers&one boot camp. Learning their names wasn't hard. In fact, I was actually killing it. You see, these guys are so good looking and their music is fire, so I was not complaining. The only downside of this whole experience was the fact that I had to work the day of the concert, which meant possibly missing all of the pre-concert events like the fan sign and the group photo. To be honest, in the moment, I was kind of glad because I was so scared of the fan sign, bro. Having to interact with them, and especially Micaiah, had me terrified. Turns out I didn't miss any of the events because I got there right on time. I was low-key terrified when O and Ava told me that they had not met them yet. Please, I wanted the earth to swallow me whole in that moment. While waiting in the line for the fan sign, I was contemplating on what I was going to tell the members, which didn't even help me at all because when the moment came, I went non-verbal. With the majority of the members, the interactions consisted of them asking me how I was, me returning the answer like, good, how about you? But when it came to interacting with Micaiah, I was so starstruck. I felt like Bruce Wayne in the Batman Lego movie scene where he sees Barbara Gordon for the first time. Gang, when I tell you that this man is so fine, he can put his shoes under my bed anytime he wants. It's a joke, I swear. He asked me, it's not a joke, he asked me if I was excited, which I just smiled and nodded to. Please, Micaiah, I'm a star, I need a redo. The group photo was a blur to me. When I entered the room, I didn't even look at them. I literally just sat down and got it done. I was also able to experience sound check, which was awesome. When I saw Camden on the stage, I was like, bro, what is my glorious King Gojo doing here? Camden is so good looking, it hurts. The concert was so much fun. It was actually one of the best experiences I've ever had. I can't stop thinking about the Broken Heart and Whip It performances. They have me in a chokehold, actually. Once the concert was over, I was just sitting there waiting for us to leave and hating myself for not getting into the group when O told me to. I'm such a chud, bro. I'm such a chud, I know. Then Ava had the audacity to tell me that there was still high touch. What do you mean I was going to high five the members and interact with them once again? I was still nervous, but this time around, it wasn't as bad as the fan sign. I was able to tell the members how amazing they performed. Did I almost pass out when interacting with Micaiah again? Did we make eye contact? Yes. Did that almost kill me? Yes. But it was worth it. This group is very underrated. Their stage presence is literally immaculate. I love their music and I'm definitely here to stay.
The post-concert depression goes actually so insane. Like, I just keep watching my videos and looking at our selfies and like smiling. Anyways, I feel so blessed. I'm nothing if not a fangirl. Oh agrees, right? Oh?
No, for real.
Like, actually, like, we would be so boring if we weren't fangirls, I think.
Literally, what we talk about like 90% of the time. When we're with other people, I feel like we have to hold ourselves back.
No, literally, because they don't get it. I feel like this group is more addicting. I don't know what happened. Oh, anyways, another thing. After we looked at our selfies, we were like, oh my gosh, there's hair on their arms. There's hair on their face. They're real. That's crazy. They were real. We talked to them. Trust.
They were real.
And they wanted us. Trust. They wanted those effing cookies. Please.